Most salespeople are playing the game completely wrong. They walk into meetings armed with scripts, pressure tactics, and a desperation that prospects can smell from across the room. And then they wonder why deals fall apart, why clients ghost them, and why their pipeline looks more like a graveyard than a revenue engine. Here is the uncomfortable truth that nobody in sales wants to hear. The harder you push, the faster you lose. But there is a different way, and the best B2B sales professionals in the world have quietly figured it out. Today, we are going deeper into the psychology of ethical selling, the techniques that actually build trust and create long-term relationships, and yes, close more deals without ever making your prospect feel manipulated. Stay with me because the third technique we cover is the one most salespeople completely overlook, and it is honestly the most powerful one on the list. Before we dive in, I want to address something directly. Ethical sales is not soft sales. It is not giving away your product at a discount just to make someone feel good. Ethical sales is actually the most strategically intelligent approach that you can take in B2B environments. When you are selling to businesses, you are not dealing with impulse buyers. You are dealing with decision makers who have real accountability, who answer to boards and shareholders, who have been burned before by vendors making empty promises. Trust is not just nice to have in this world, it is literally the currency that gets deals done. So every technique that we are going to talk about today is built on a foundation of genuine value creation, and that is what makes them work. The first technique is something called problem-first selling. Most salespeople lead with their product. They open a meeting by talking about features, case studies, pricing packages, and why their company is the best option available. Here is why that approach fails psychologically. When you lead with your solution, you are implicitly telling the prospect that you already know what they need before they have told you anything. And that creates a subtle but powerful form of resistance. The prospect immediately goes into evaluation mode, and in evaluation mode, they are looking for reasons to say no. Problem-first selling flips this completely. You come into the conversation with genuine curiosity. You ask about their current situation, their goals, what obstacles are standing between where they are and where they want to be, and you let them articulate their own pain in their own words. Now here is the psychology behind why this works so powerfully. When a person says something out loud, they become more committed to it. When your prospect tells you that their current vendor is unreliable, that their sales cycle is too long, or that they are losing customers because of a specific gap, they have just handed you the exact language and framing that you need. And more importantly, they have created internal commitment to solving that problem. You did not manufacture the urgency. They discovered it themselves. And that is ethical, and it is extraordinarily effective. The second technique is radical transparency, and this one takes real courage to execute. Most salespeople hide their product's weaknesses, overstate capabilities, and avoid any conversation that might introduce doubt. Radical transparency means doing the opposite. It means proactively telling your prospect where your solution might not be the perfect fit, what limitations exist, and what the implementation challenges might look like. And even when a competitor might be better suited for a specific need. I know what you're thinking. That sounds like sales suicide. But consider what actually happens when you do this. First, your credibility goes through the roof. In a world full of salespeople who overpromise, the one who tells the truth becomes instantly memorable and trustworthy. Second, you filter out the wrong clients before they sign, which saves you from the expensive nightmare of managing dissatisfied customers who feel misled. And third, the prospects who are genuinely a good fit become significantly more confident in buying because they trust that you have given them the complete picture. Radical transparency is not about talking yourself out of deals. It is about talking yourself into the right deals with clients who will stay, expand, and refer others. Now here is a technique that I promised you, the one that most salespeople completely overlook. It is called the Consultative Gap Framework, and it lives at the intersection of education and sales. The idea is straightforward but powerful. Before you ever make a recommendation, you help your prospect clearly see the gap between their current state and their desired state, not in a manipulative pressure way, but through a structured educational conversation. You map out where they are today, where they want to be, and then systematically walk through what is causing the distance between those 2 points. You are essentially becoming a consultant in that moment rather than a salesperson. And when the prospect reaches the natural conclusion that they need help to close that gap, your product or service becomes the obvious next conversation. Not a pitch, but a logical progression. The psychological principle at work here is what researchers call the IKEA effect, combined with self-persuasion. When people participate in building the understanding of their own problem, they value the solution far more than if you simply handed them a diagnosis. They feel understood, they feel smart, and they feel like the decision to move forward is entirely their own, which, in the most ethical sense, it is. Now let's move on to Technique 4, which is what I call the long game mindset and its practical application in pipeline management. Here is a mindset shift that changes everything. Stop thinking about closing deals and start thinking about opening relationships. In B2B sales, the buying cycle can be 6 months, 12 months, sometimes longer. Prospects are often not ready today, even when they have a genuine interest. The average B2B buyer interacts with a vendor multiple times across multiple channels before they make a decision. So what separates the salespeople who win those deals from the ones who lose them? And the answer is consistency of value delivery over time. This means following up with relevant content, not spam, but genuinely useful articles, insights, or data points that relate to the specific challenges the prospect mentioned. It means checking in without an agenda, just to see how things are progressing on their end. It means being someone they look forward to hearing from rather than someone they dread. The long game mindset is ethical by nature because it prioritizes the relationship over the transaction. And the beautiful irony is that it produces far more transactions in the long run than any high-pressure closing technique ever could. Technique number 5 is multi-stakeholder alignment, and this is where many B2B deals die quietly. In complex sales environments, you rarely have a single decision maker. You have champions, end users, financial gatekeepers, technical evaluators, and executive sponsors, all with different priorities and different definitions of success. An ethical and effective approach to this is to actively help your champion build internal alignment rather than leaving them to fight for their solution alone. This means creating materials that speak to each stakeholder's specific concerns. It means coaching your internal champion on how to present the value of your solution in each stakeholder's language. It means being available for calls, demos, or Q&A sessions with different departments. When you take ownership of the stakeholder alignment process, you do two things simultaneously. You dramatically increase your win rate because deals stop stalling at the internal approval stage, and you demonstrate to your future client that you are a partner, not just a vendor. And that perception carries enormous weight after the contract is signed. Now let me bring this all together with something that ties every single one of these techniques to a deeper principle. Ethical selling works because it aligns your incentives with your prospects' incentives. When you practice problem-first selling, you understand them deeply before prescribing anything. When you use radical transparency, you protect them from making a bad decision. And when you apply the Consultative Gap Framework, you help them see clearly so they can choose wisely. And when you play the long game, you respect their timeline and their process. When you align their stakeholders, you set them up for internal success. Every single one of these techniques is asking the same question at its core. How do I make this person's professional life genuinely better? And when that is your operating question, something profound happens. You stop feeling like a salesperson and you start feeling like a trusted advisor. Your prospects stop seeing you as someone to be managed and start seeing you as someone to be leaned on. And in B2B sales, being the person they lean on is worth more than any closing technique ever invented. So here is your takeaway. Ditch the pressure tactics, not because they are immoral, although many of them are, but because they do not work in complex B2B environments where relationships and reputation are everything. Adopt these 5 frameworks: problem-first selling, radical transparency, the Consultative Gap Framework, the long game mindset, and the multi-stakeholder alignment. And watch what happens to your pipeline, your close rate, and honestly, your own satisfaction with the work. If this kind of thinking resonates with you, subscribe and hit the bell because we go deep on ethical sales psychology every single week. And drop a comment below telling me which technique you are going to try first. I do my best to read every single one, and I look forward to hearing from you, and I will see you in that next video.